Hello and welcome. I'm Greg and this is Oz by Drone. Sorry about that sound overlap there. Welcome to the show today. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. This is totally unplanned, unscripted, and I've been doing Wirecast in the Wild, a little bit of experiment to show people what happens behind the scenes, and I'd like to say a special welcome to Adrian Albach, who bought a $1,200 toy, and he's a pilot, and look at me. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Hey Adrian, I'm congratulating you. I gather you work for the ABC. I'm sorry if you... you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do today is to invite Adrian to come on the show, because, you know, he's made a comment just a few moments ago. Blame it on Telstra. Where was it? He made a comment, another episode of Blame It on Telstra of boys with their toys who call themselves pilots. Why not actually come and speak to us, Adrian? I'll send you a link. Just give me a moment. I'd love to hear more about your thoughts on this. There we go. Copy that link. And I'll paste that into the chat. Adrian, I'd love to have you come and join us on the screen on the show. We'd love to hear your views. Anyway, while we're waiting for Adrian to come in, so what's today about? Today I'm going to share my screen on this machine, this Macintosh computer. I'm going to share and show what it is that is in my Wirecast console and how we actually produce that part of the show. Specifically, we're going to have a look at the document, the Wirecast document that is the framework behind Oz by Drone. And this is the second last episode that we're going to have where we're not talking about drones. We're going to get back to drones in a couple of weeks, but for now, we're just going to share what comes on my screen. Anyway, and Adrian, I'm certainly looking forward to have you come into the show today, Adrian. Okay, so without further ado, let's kill that music and let's share my screen. So NDI monitor, or NDI screencast I should say. Close a few windows so I won't see the chat for a while. Maybe I can pull that out. There we go. Pop out chat window. We'll close that. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen at this point, and we'll get rid of a few bits and pieces. We'll get rid of lots of bits and pieces. And we'll bring up Wirecast. So this is the document that I use as my template each and every week for the show. And I might, there we go. So for the moment, we'll turn off the chat. We'll turn off layer 2. Just clear layer 2 for me, layer B. There we go. Okay, so this is a little bit different to every other show. This is the first time we've ever done this. I've actually got 2 copies of Wirecast running. There's one running on this computer that you can see on the screen now. Let me just do this. So there's one running here on this computer that's in front of me, and there's one running over there, which is being controlled by my better half. So this is Wirecast. This is what we see when I'm getting ready to do the show. On the particular document we've got here, this one is called a title. This is a NDI source that comes in from my Title Alive. Title Alive is another product that I use. Where's Adrian? I just see that title that's waiting to come up there. Adrian, where are you? You were speaking some stuff there. I'd love to have you come into the show and discuss it. But anyway, so that's coming from Title Alive. And what actually happens there, Mel, the Phantom Trucker, Mel is in the USA, and he goes and controls what comes up on the screen. And he's gone and pressed a button now to bring something else up on the screen. You can see that it's building that title now. So current render status, and there it is over there. And there's the Where's Adrian ready to go to air at the moment. But we've hidden that from the screen for the moment because it'll be hard to read it on top of my desktop. So anyway, back over here. So this is the titles. This is a shot that I use that just explains how many subscriptions I've currently got to my channel, and sometimes if we're talking about that and we've got a target, might put that up on the screen. This one over here is where I bring my Mac up onto the screen. Now we've opened a hole in space and time there at the moment. So let's close that down. But normally, in fact, over on the computer that's behind me at the moment, so this computer way back over there, the one that's doing the broadcasting, it had that shot live. And we'll bring that shot back live again. And there it is. By the way, I'm just going to share something with you that's really interesting for people that are using Apple Macintosh computers. I did a little bit of research, and the packets that are coming from a Mac computer, when they go to air, if you do a hard cut from one frame to another, instead of doing a smooth transition like we did just a moment ago, oops, that was my bad, I picked the wrong shot. If you do a hard cut from one shot to another with an Apple Macintosh computer, if you're using an Apple Macintosh hardware encoder, it causes problems. Now, for those who have been regulars with our show for some time, you would have seen very regularly where the show is buffering. If you're using a Macintosh computer and you're using an Apple output encoder, that causes this problem. And we've actually proven that it's not Wirecast that's causing the problem. We actually did something where I was using VLC as an input and it was coming into Wirecast. And if I start the video at that exact moment, as soon as it's transitioning from a static black screen to some video motion, there were problems happening with that. So let me just have a quick peek at the chat to see what's going on. Pop out chat. So hi Spike, hi Peter, hi Spike, drone shots 400 AGL. Hi Thomas, hi Chris. I admit that I'm a big boy with a toy. Look, I'm a boy with a toy. I enjoy playing with my flying camera. But our friend who was very vocal before, Adrian, obviously doesn't want to come into the show today. Anyway, look, I won't talk about that anymore at the moment. Let's continue. So we'll put Wirecast back on the screen. This one. Having a look at my computer desktop. There we go. So I mentioned before, we've got the titles, we've got the subscriptions, we've got this one that's my Macintosh. Let's clear that layer. Now the second layer, this is the chat layer. So you can see at the moment, this is pulling in information from what Mel is doing right now. So he's putting some chat things on the screen and that's coming up there. In fact, just to make this a little bit more interesting, let's put that chat layer. No, I can't do that. That's all right. So we've got the chat.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stop the Gang.
That was my producer, I think. I don't think it was me. She pressed a button trying to do some stuff. Wasn't you? Oh, she's saying it was me. It could be me. Okay, let's move on. So back to the point. Over here, we've got this one that's chat, and this one is tune and chat. So when we start the beginning of the show, that's when the song starts and the first chat message comes up. That's that shot. And then later on, after the tune is over, we switch to this shot over here. And on the next layer, we've got our intro slide. Now, this is a bit of a controversial one with Wirecast. So this particular one, when we first started doing the show, this shot had individual components. So there was one component for the logo in the corner, another component for the spinning YouTube thing, the countdown in the middle, the YouTube live stream logo, and all of these things were individual components that were layered together. Now, there's a bug that we found in Wirecast where if you're rendering too many videos, and I can't remember what's the type of the video, too many ProRes videos together, the CPU load on your computer goes through the roof and you can't use it. So to get around that, I've pre-rendered all of those different layer elements together, and that's part of that intro countdown video. So quick piece of advice to young players: if you're doing any live streaming and you want to layer lots of components together, particularly if they're Apple ProRes components, you can't do that with Wirecast at the moment. Hopefully that'll be fixed in a future version. This is our outro shot. By the way, to my producer, could you go to the switch menu and change the transition speed to fastest for today, just to make that a little bit better. Okay, so where were we? The outro. So this is pretty simple. This has got a very, very short version of the song that we have at the beginning of the show and some video content behind it. Finally, over here, we've got a playlist, which has got the Stump the Yank audio and some other game show kind of music in the background. Just having a look back at the chat for a minute, see if there's anything that I'm missing. And theoretically, Mel, if you've got anything that you need to bring to my attention, you know you can yell that out through that back channel. Looking at the chat. Welcome to the drone interest group. Yeah, welcome to the channel. Okay, let's go on. Let's move on. So next one, we've got down here on the next screen. We've got the welcome shot, and then we've got a co-host shot. So this is normally where you will have myself initially in this shot. And if you have a look on the screen on the right over here, there's that shot, and then transitioning, and you notice that it does a zoom. Normally it does it a lot slower than that. And I mentioned before that transitioning between shots, instead of doing hard cut shots, it's better in Wirecast with Max to do transitions. Don't do hard cuts. Normally we do this as a slow transition, so it kind of looks like we're zooming in as if it was a real camera, but of course all of this is done in a green screen location. Then the next shot I have here, I've got my co-host, then we've got two video shots. So if I'm got myself and I've got a video that I'm playing on the screen, that's that one there. And if I've got another guest, like Adrian, who we asked to be on the show today, but unfortunately he didn't want to join, that's where we would have those kind of people sitting there. And last but not least, I've got a shot where I do some pre-show testing. This is a green screen test shot. So those are all the visual components. I've got two more down the bottom that's a little bit hard to see on my screen here. There we go. So this one is my audio shot. I keep my audio separate to the rest of what's happening. I deliberately remove all audio from these shots over here. The reason for that is when you're switching from one shot to another, if I, for example, had John Morrison, my co-host, there, and I started to play a video, just because I'm switching what I see on the screen doesn't mean that I want to get rid of John's audio. It'd be really good if Wirecast by default had a way of specifying individual audio tracks that will be persistent. But anyway, that's another story. So we manually do that by using down the bottom these audio tracks. Now B would be where my co-host sits. I'm on the Rode microphone, and I've got two other virtual feeds which come from my laptop and also from the VLC video player. So that's the complete list of everything that's part of my show. Now, what I might do in a couple of seconds, I'm going to actually go and use this computer and do what I would normally do when building the show, and then let you see the output. So first of all, we'll go back to my desktop and let's go and get ready for the show. So let's clear a couple of other layers over here. Clear that and that. Okay. Whoops. There we go. So you can just see my desktop at the moment. Now, over here, normally I would add a professional camera. Today we're going to add a FaceTime camera. So source A. Now I can't see any cameras there at the moment. One of the annoying things about Wirecast, but we'll go and work around that. I'll show you, this is an interesting workaround. What I actually do before the show, we open the Rendezvous dashboard and do a few things there. And this loads the FaceTime camera here, and then I might set it to something else temporarily, and you know, I'm doing all of that stuff as part of our startup script. Now that we've done that, that camera is now live inside Wirecast. So that makes it a lot easier to go and add that into the shot. So over here, I'm telling, oh, there it is. I was going to say I was telling a lie, but I'm not. There it is. So we've got our camera into that shot. So there's Greg with some blue, some green behind. Now, of course, this is my laptop's camera. Normally you don't see it from this perspective and the green looks different. And there we go. Then over here, we do the same thing. Change source A. And we put the FaceTime camera in there. Now, there's a lot of other bits. I'm going to skip the guest and all of that kind of stuff at the moment. But over here, change source. And we'll put the FaceTime camera in there as well. Now let's just have a quick peek at the chat again. What do we got? Discord. Greg is using a green screen. Yes, I am. So Greg, I take it that your amazingly professional looking set is a graphic image. Yes, it is. It comes with Wirecast, the professional version of that. Okay, let's go back over here. So how do we do this green screen thing in Wirecast? There's a little button over here. This one is the chroma key button. We turn it on. Now, before I do my show, now I don't know if you can see that on the screen there remotely, but the coloring there looks absolutely awful. I can see some green in the background. Now, just by pressing this button, I can sample the colors and try and improve the look of that. Now, it still doesn't look quite good over here. So you can change some of these other settings as well. So my microphone is clipping a little bit. I can improve that there. And the white clip, again, we can improve that as well. So that gets rid of some of that yucky stuff. And the key threshold, so we can play around with that value as well. 13 where it was before looks reasonable. Now this doesn't look as good as the real studio rig does, because I'm not using a high quality camera. This is just the built-in FaceTime camera. But let's go and send that live. But before we do, we'll come over here. We're going to do the same thing over here. Use chroma key. Whoops. We do it on that one there. Use chroma key. Do the same thing here. Use chroma key. Now with my laptop, I've just simulated on this computer what happens on that computer way over there in a small version. So I'm going to send that shot live now. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to send NDI output from this computer, and I'm going to click the start button. Now this shot is now available as an NDI source over there. So what you're seeing right now, this is my laptop, not the normal studio shot. And you know, it's not set up perfectly as good as the normal studio, but this was just a quick little rig to show you some of the things that I do as part of the setup. Ignore some of that green thing in the background. The proportions are all wrong. I haven't zoomed it. My producer, my wife over there, is pointing at things and saying it doesn't look good. I know. But this is just as an exercise at the moment. Let's have a quick peek at the chats. Bob. Talking to 400 AGL, Peter saying cool. By the way, just a quick comment. I'm using green screen paint rather than using a cloth. It is just so much better than using a cloth behind. Okay, so what else do we do as part of the show? Let's go back to my screen. There we go. So again, just to quickly remind you, so we've got this shot, transitioning to this shot. And again, sorry about the green. I haven't properly tuned it at the moment, but it's just an example. Over here, I'd normally have my co-host or on the screen in the B position. Over here, we normally have myself and some video. And over here, we have a guest. That's pretty much all that I use in Wirecast. It's exactly the same template, exactly the same document each and every week. If I didn't do it that way, it'd be much more complicated. Let's just put myself back, that's better. If I didn't do the show that way, it would be much more complicated. Putting things in and changing them around every week and changing the actual Wirecast document makes it very, very confusing. So encourage you to use a single template that you use every single time for the show. It'll make it a lot easier. One thing I'd like Wirecast people to do at some point in the future is include a video playout option, kind of like what I'm doing now with VLC as a player, and it goes into Wirecast and gets played out. I would love to have maybe their Switch player have NDI. If that was available, that would be a really cool feature. Anyway, look, it's really, really hot in Sydney today. This has been the hottest week that we've had all year. And in this particular room, I don't have air conditioning, and instead I've got studio lights all around. So I'm planning on making it a really short show today. But what I will ask you guys to do is tell me if you've got any questions. If anyone does want to come into the show today, that link that I pasted before, I'll put it up there again. You're more than welcome to come up and we can have a chat about anything that's on your mind today. One thing that I will say, this software, Wirecast, is it's a professional piece of software. It's not free, but there is an evaluation of the software available. So if you want to play with it, go and download it and play with it. And you can do pretty much everything that I'm doing here, but it's going to watermark it and put some logo on top of your output. Give it a try, see what you think. Anyway, please do click on that rendezvous link if anyone wants to come on the show today. Just going to stay here for a little while. If not, we might have an early finish. Let's have a look for any questions that we've got. And I'll put the titles back on the screen again from Mel. There we go. Great community here. Yeah, I just want to say the drone community has been really cool. Particularly the streaming drone community going and helping each other has been really cool. Mr. Rick Halber, sorry I'm late. Or sorry lay? I don't know what that was. Why don't more YouTubers use green screen sets? Good question. It's a lot of work to do it. To actually do green screen well is difficult. So you saw before when I was doing it with my laptop, it doesn't always look as good, and it takes a lot of time to tune it and getting it looking really well. In fact, let's do this. I'm just going to quickly go back to my laptop screen for a couple of minutes. Let's do this. So I'm going to change that template, and I'll do that one. And I'll get rid of that. There we go. Now I've just put myself into another virtual set. Let me just try and tune that green screen a little bit because it's annoying me. we go. So I've just put myself into another virtual studio. Now, the proportions are not really good there. I haven't set it up in advance, so... But this is just to show you the different studios that you can use. Now, not all of these... That looks awful. A head in a studio, and there's my arms, and... Yeah. So the proportions are not right. So I'm not prepared and set up ready to use those today. But you get the idea. Let's go back to that. Okay. So have we had anyone come into Rendezvous? I don't think so. No remote guests today. Adrian, where are you? Greg, have I used other software like Wirecast? I do want to talk about that really briefly. Yes, I have. So I've used OBS. I played with it. I didn't like it. The reason that I didn't like it, and I'll show my desktop just for a moment now to show you exactly why. So with this software, I can layer things on top of each other. So at the moment, there is me, and I want to put the chat box on top. Oh, we've got a guest. We've got Mr. Spike here coming in for a moment. So I'll get my producer to go and add Spike into the shot. It'll take a few moments. But in the meantime, just to quickly say, you can add things on top of one another, kind of like some of the Adobe software where you've got layers. So... You know, I want to put that, and then I want to put something else on top of it, and something else on top, and then put this on top of that. You know, you can just do that layering. That's why I like Wirecast. I also like the audio, the USB mixer that's in Wirecast. So this little thing over here. Now, and something else on top, and then put this on top of that. Add this in. You know, you can just do that layering. Now, at the moment, I'm getting audio in my headphones, I think, back from Mr. Spike. So if you could mute your YouTube, my friend, that would be good. Okay, you do that. I'll bring you in a little while. Just finish some stuff here for a minute. And I'll just see if I can turn his volume down. No, I can't. I'll do it later. Where was I? Audio. So if I go over here... and this microphone. I did show this previously. Let's change that to audio capture, and I'll just use my built-in microphone there for today. We'll send that live. Then we'll go to the USB mixer. So this built-in microphone, I've got all of these different effects that I can use. So I can use delay, for example, if I need to. Very useful if, for example, your video source has got some delay in it. But the one that I use is dynamics. It's my favorite effect. With that, I can have a limiter, so I can get rid of all of the background hiss and other junk. Sorry, that with a limiter, I should say, is to kind of compress the sound down a little bit. Get rid of the top end stuff, but the gate threshold is the one that gets rid of the noise in the background. So really, really cool. To answer your question, Ken, as to what troll gave a thumbs down, there was a guy that came in very early in the show today, and he started saying, oh, we're going to have people whinging about Telstra, boys with their toys and spending $1,200 on a drone. I saw that happen even before the show had started, and I challenged him. I gave him a rendezvous link, and I challenged him to come in and speak here if he had the balls to do it. But, you know, the kind of trolls that we have around here, they really don't have any balls. They just all talk, and they're all whinging to people, and he didn't come in. But anyway, enough said. So that's all I really wanted to go through today. Like I said, short show. We've gone through my Wirecast document. I've refreshed a little bit of info about what I do with my audio. Shared that previously as well. But that's why I use Wirecast, and certainly Ken uses Wirecast as well. We've both had this discussion. You know, there've been lots of problems and challenges that we've both had with Wirecast. There's no doubt about that. And in fact, if you have a look over here on my screen right now, it's telling you the system CPU on this one on my laptop is very, very high. It's running at 78% currently. But this laptop is not what I normally broadcast with. But, you know, these are challenges that we have to deal with and work out how to overcome. So without further ado, let's go and bring in Spike into the show. Are you there, Mr. Spike? There we are. But we don't have your audio yet.
Okay.
And
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 4. Hello.
Okay, we've got some audio and we just need to mix minus you now. So these are some of the things that are challenges with Wirecast. Ken uses Skype via NDI, which is another way of getting people in. I don't use Skype. It's not as good on a Mac as it is on a Windows machine. So not much we can do about that. That's just been my experience. Rendezvous is built into Wirecast and it's really, really good for bringing guests in. But there are some limitations, and certainly I'm working with the Wirecast people. I've given them a bunch of feature requests and hopefully they're going to be implemented. So Spike, let's try again. Audio.
Hello, testing.
Yeah.
Hey, g'day.
So you use something different.
What are you talking about?
When you're streaming, what do you use?
I just use the standard YouTube channel, you know. So like there's a little on everyone's channel. There's a little camera at the top there. I just click on it and away I'll go, you know. But I can't bring in guests or anything like that, you know. So I've got to learn a software program. Probably going to go with the cheap ass freebie to start with.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, just to get my head around that, and then I'll be able to have like little, you know, not do it all by myself. So,
by the way, did you know you're using a Mac, aren't you, Spike?
I am using the iMac. I heard what you were talking about, Mac stuff earlier.
Yeah, just can you reapply that template on the right-hand side? So right-click onto that shot.
G'day, Rick Halabar. How you going, Uncle Rick? G'day, Auntie Ken Heron, and Cuzzy 400.
Okay, and there he goes again. Now, this is one of the bugs with Wirecast that I've previously reported to them. I hope they see this.
Hey.
Can you, my producer, can you right-click on that shot?
Jim Wallace, Mr. Graphics, how are you, mate?
Right.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
This one?
Thunderbird 6. Hey, listen, everybody, if you don't know, I've been plugging away in the poor old chat there, flogging off a giveaway. We're giving away, and it's being drawn next Sunday. So while Greg's off doing his thing, making crumpets for breakfast, we'll just give it a bit of a plug. So it's a great giveaway. It's a Peter Brock license number plate, and the video's up and running. So if you want to check it out, everyone, and I wish everyone good luck, and thank very much to Greg from Thunderbird 6 for providing the prize. And yeah, really awesome. Another quick one I want to give a plug out to is Jim Crinan, our brother going through the lung cancer stuff, had an operation yesterday, and he sent me a message, and he's doing fine. So the word well, W-E-L-L, was in the sentence. That's always better than unwell. So feedback for everyone, Jim Crinan's doing okay with his operation and his cancer, and slowly the GoFundMe campaign is growing, so please get behind that one as well. I will put the links also in the chat in a second. Back to you in the studio, Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Sparky.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, so look, just to your question about using the built-in YouTube stuff versus using this. Ken and I, we both want to do the heavy production value kind of thing and make it look sexy. For that, you do need something extra. You can start with OBS, but did you know that you can get Wirecast for $29?
You said that, Greg. You said that. Yeah.
So if you have a look on the net and you search for Game Show, Game Show is a mini version of Wirecast that was originally designed for gamers that want to do game streaming. It's $29, and there he is. He's back again.
It's you know, in Sydney. It's going on in Sydney, not here in the outback of Australia.
Yeah, another story for another day. But have a look at Game Show if you guys are interested in something like Wirecast, but it's a cut down version. Download it, $29, and that's all it costs.
Greg, can you please put that link? You know, when you do the re-upload of this show, or if you do it or not, I don't know. But can you put that and talk to them about an affiliation for yourself? And for people like me, we can make it easier. So I have to do what you're saying. Look for it. It's easier. It's just on the link in the bottom of your description.
I will put it there. Yeah,
good on you, mate. And ask them if anyone clicks through for result to you, you want $400 every click. You know,
400. Oh, come on, more than that.
I've got to start small.
Yeah. Anyway, look, that's all we're going to do today. Unless anyone else wants to ask any questions really quickly, we've got one more week of Wirecast in the Wild next week. You know what? I've just worked out what it is. There's a guy that I was talking to in one of the Wirecast forums, and he was complaining about rendezvous guests dropping in and out. Now, funnily enough, Spike, he's having this problem, and we actually had a big, long stream about this a while ago where we were testing it, and it seemed to be, at the time, only people with Macintoshes, and we couldn't replicate it on a Windows machine, so interesting. Someone else is having the same problem, so it's not just me. Anyway, Greg, have I upgraded my internet connection? Performance is flawless today. No, I haven't upgraded my internet connection. What we've decided to do, you've taken Spike away.
I'm here.
Yeah, he's not on the screen. Oh, now he's gone. He'll come back. Have I upgraded my internet connection? No,
Hello.
I haven't.
Hello.
No, I haven't upgraded it. The difference is we're doing soft cuts instead of hard cuts. That's an Apple bug. Spoke about that earlier on in the show. Okay.
Okay, you got some heavy hitters in the chat, Greg. Well done to you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people have we got viewing today?
I can't see. I don't have privilege to those numbers.
It should be in the YouTube.
Oh,
anyway.
The YouTube one. I've got it all minimized. I'm just looking at the big one. Hello to producer wifey. Hello, darling. You're doing a great job with Greg's knobs.
Okay, look, Greg, can you hear me on Discord? No, I can't. And that's, you know why that is, Mel? I turned down that volume knob earlier because it was getting some feedback from somewhere else. Let me turn it up again now. Okay, look, see there? Greg, can you hear me on Discord? No, I can't. And that's, you know why that is? Yeah, so I did intend to have Mel coming in there from Discord, but for some reason, you know what? I think I know what it is. My fault totally. I'll fix it for next time. Last questions, 21, 22 people watching. You've got a GoPro. He's a hero. By the way, speaking of cameras, I've got something coming soon as well. I'm going to go and get the little Osmo Pocket. For those of you who've watched for long enough, I did have an Osmo Plus, and it was hot. It was a hot camera. How hot was it?
Yeah, 50-something or 70-something.
It was really, really hot, and so hot that it was burning my skin if I held it for long enough on the side of the camera. So that's, after a lot of trial and error, I gave up on it, and I said, you can have the thing back, and they've agreed to take it back. And I'm going to replace that with the Osmo Pocket, so that'll come in a little while.
So you're going to do the little lady shaver thing too, eh?
Lady shaver.
It's funny, you know, I shit-stirred a bloke with my Osmo Mobile 2, and I said, yeah, get a real man's gimbal, you know, with his little lady shaver. And he came back with me with a Ronin 2. Ronin 2. He said, "This is a real man's gimbal." I thought, okay, Papa Bear.
Yeah. So I'm just watching over here. We've got a couple of things. Let me...
Hello, Teresa and Thor. If you're out there still, g'day, you beautiful, sexy people.
Yeah. So the chat stuff, Chris Hope's message that was coming up on the screen is finally about to come up. Look at this. It's coming up very slowly. And the reason that it's looking like that, I had Wirecast and Title Alive and so many other things running on this screen. Like I said at the beginning, I'm probably going to break the internet with the show today. And I was pretty close to that. But it was all good. It was all fun. We're going to leave it there today. So next time will be the last of this January summer series of Oz by Drone looking at Wirecast in the Wild. How do we... Oh, we've got someone here. Let's go and add that person before we go. We've got one more guest.
I'll see you later, Greg, if you want.
Thanks, matey. See you, Spiky.
Love you, man. Ta-da. Ta-da, wifey.
She says bye-bye.
Yep.
So we've got Mel. We'll go and chuck him into the shots where Spike was. By the way, my wife has only done this. This is the 4th time she's used Wirecast outside of practice. So the 4th live attempt. She's doing pretty good, isn't she? So at the moment, she's putting Mel in the shot, and there he is. Hey, Mel.
Hey, Greg.
Okay, thank you for popping in. Unlike our other
we
friend
good
who
with the
didn't
audio?
want to... The audio's up. I've got echo, but that's all right because she's going to go and do the mix minus on you, which is now complete.
Well, I'll kill Discord. That should cure your echo.
Yeah.
The titler, I would just want to say it wasn't looking like it was working correctly.
Yeah, so when we spoke before the show, I mentioned I'd probably not keep it up through the entire show, and that was because I had Wirecast and Title Alive running on this computer, talking to that computer, and it was...
Right, but I mean, even when it was up, it was maybe it was weird, but the chat text was not showing up in the little window that comes up on your screen.
Yeah, that was because of that CPU load. By the way, I'll just share something with you, and this is an interesting one for people who might want to go and buy a Mac or some other computer to do live video production. This computer here, this Macintosh MacBook, I bought this, I can't remember what year it was now. It's not the one with the touch bar, it's the previous model. But when I was buying it, I said to myself, I'm a geek. I don't play games though, so I don't need a gaming computer. All of the stuff I do is logging onto Linux servers and doing stuff via SSH sessions. So I won't need the GPU, and I thought I'll save some money and that'll be really smart. Little did I know, a number of years later, I'd be interested in live video production and need that GPU more than anything else, but there you go. I can hear some audio coming in from you, Mel, from something else. Is there something in the background there?
There is. I could go turn that off.
Oh, that's all right. Mel's showing off now.
I'll be back. Let me go turn that other stuff off. I don't want to get a copyright strike anyway. Hang on.
So Mel has been taking a leaf out of Ken's book and having a front-facing camera and a rear-facing camera. In my case, the wall is just 30 centimeters behind me, so you wouldn't really see that much. You'd only see my shoulders, pretty much. But Mel, you use OBS, yeah?
No, I use vMix.
You use vMix, that's right. So tell me why you use vMix.
Because it's better than OBS. And
That's
it
a good
seems
reason.
to be more stable than Wirecast on my Mac. Oh my God, on my PC.
Okay. So for me, unfortunately, vMix is not available for Mac. It's only available for PC, and that's one big reason why I don't use it. So, yeah.
Right. And I was going to say something else just then, and you know how it goes.
Yeah. By the way, Lloyd, just looking and noticing you in the chat there, I sent you an email earlier today. I don't know if anyone knows, but our friend Mr. Nightbot, he actually takes statistics of everyone who chats. And the biggest gas bagger in our channel, thank you, Lloyd Mendenhall. It's official. He's the biggest gas bagger in the channel. Takes statistics of everyone who chats. Now, that's still getting that echo back through somewhere else. Let me go and find out where that is. I think I've got an extra YouTube window open somewhere.
That could be because I've got Wirecast. I mean, I've got Discord muted, and the only thing running is my the rendezvous connection with this one mic. So
let's try that one more time. Our biggest and best gas bagger is Lloyd Mendenhall. There we go. Not quite as smooth as Ken, but still a little bit of fun in the background. Anyway, look, that's all I wanted to do today. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the whole live streaming experience and what you think about it, having fun with it?
Oh, I completely enjoy messing around with it, and I enjoy the green screen and the technology, and I wish that I could. I'm in the process now of learning how to use vMix to output to other sources as my green screen, so that when, for example, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it on my screen or not, but I'd be able to output my main camera with the green screen and all the background
as a virtual camera to something else,
as like an NDI source. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what I did today. So computer number, the laptop, the computer in front of me was outputting NDI to the other computer, and that's what we saw today.
Yeah. Except I'm going to try and do it all with one computer.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Lots of fun. Speaking of computers, Ken's going and he's going to require the electricity utility in his particular country to upgrade as a result of his new computer purchases, but that's another story.
That's exactly right. When he hits the power button on that thing for the first time next week, the lights of Huntington, Tennessee are going to go out. Yeah. No doubt.
Okay, look, that's all for today. Mel, thanks for jumping in. Next time, we've got one more Wirecast in the Wild. If you could do me a favor, everyone who's watching today who's interested in the streaming stuff, put some questions or topics that you'd like us to have a look at next week as a comment into the video. Don't put in the chat now. Wait till the stream ends. Put it in as a comment. We'll have a look at that and include that for next week. So that's all for now. Bye for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.